Good morning, college football fans, and welcome to 3 and Out College Edition right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. My goodness, what a week of college football it was last week, and hey, this week is pretty awesome as well. So many big matchups today. I can think of plenty more. USC, Utah, Tennessee, Alabama, and the goodies just continue. I am welcome, of course, with my buddy man, my co-host here, of course, awesome dude all around, IE Sports Radio Hall of Famer, the host of 2 shows here, Set Point and SoCal Sports Show, and just overall great guy, man. Ladies and gentlemen, Teran Rodriguez, what's going on, brother? How you doing today, man?
Hey, man. Great to be on, and I am ready to talk about football with you.
Well, likewise, brother, likewise. We will continue on today, doing our thing. I'll tell you what, man, we're going to make a great show here today. So we're ready to roll, and we got plenty of college football to get into. As the name of the episode says, this is the pick of the season. Oh boy, well, the pick of the season is here. So, once again, y'all, thank you for tuning in. It's going to be a great one. Be ready to roll because the good times in college football are coming. You are now tuned in live to 3 and Out College Edition right here on IE Sports Radio. Yours right for all. Welcome, college football fans. Well, here we are yet again. My boy Teran and I doing our thing, bringing you the latest in college football. We got a lot to get into today, y'all. It's going to be a fun show as always. We're talking, of course, the main deal, the FBS. We got some FCS action, plenty D2, D3, NAIA, NJCAA, 3C2A, and of course, got some high school football for you as well. So 8, I don't know, governing bodies or 8 different football. I don't know what you want to call it, but we are ready to go. And, well, it should be a fun one as always. So, Teran, man, how about this week? It's been crazy. We got a lot of stuff going on today. The sports intersection is here. So many great things. We got some a crucial game for the Dodgers tonight and the Padres. We got the MLS playoffs starting today. Hopefully our Galaxy freaking wins, Teran. And, you know, that's going down. Got some hockey's in full bloom. NBA's right around the corner. We have here plenty of great college football. Just so many awesome things going on at one time. I know it's not a show for all the other stuff there, but just saying, what a beautiful time of year, right, Teran?
Absolutely. It's a beautiful thing, honestly. And, yeah, you pretty much called it when it came to the whole sports intersection thing. Couldn't have said it any better myself.
Thanks, brother. Well, you had some great stuff for us yesterday on the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, and, well, we're going to be talking a little San Diego State in a little bit, so I know you're ready for that. So, without further ado, Teran, Week 7. My gosh, it feels crazy. No, it's Week 7, man. I mean, golly, football just started. I mean, here we are now, Week 7 of the season, and, well, you know, we have just madness, a lot of chaos happening. So let's go ahead and jump to last week. Because, well, there were some football games where we were just like, wow. First things first, I know we got to start off with the homer team, I guess, for us. But USC, man, it wasn't irritating, Teran. It wasn't. This was, of course, a week I didn't watch a lot of football on this day. This was Cecilia's birthday, of course, last week. So we were at downtown Disney with my mom and her boyfriend. And we were just having a good old time. So we really didn't get... I didn't get a lot of it. I didn't get to watch a lot of this game. I had it on my Hulu TV, on my phone. But I saw some great games. But I do want to go ahead and start with this one, man, because SC, I don't know what was it really. I mean, I didn't watch enough of it to know, but dude, SC had a problem with the Cougs, man.
Washington State is a good team, and they do have a very good running back that's only a freshman, and they gave Oregon some fits as well. So I'm going to say this: I'm not a little too surprised. I just think that it wasn't the big blowout win that everyone probably expected. But the good thing is for USC is that they got. I think this might have been a little bit of a trap game, but honestly, Washington State is formidable. I think that USC just needed to do enough in order to win, just to, get bowl game eligible and also prepare for its big showdown against Utah. But Washington State does have also a fairly good defense. Yes, it didn't wasn't the blow away your mind type of defense or the Oregon State type of defense, but it was respectable. I mean, they held USC to their second lowest total of the season. So I think Washington State is a good opponent.
Agreed. Washington State wasn't too shabby. They're 4-2. Kind of overlooked them, but I'll tell you right now, I know for a fact these guys, SC man. I guess it was a good game, and hey, well deserved victory there. Now the San Diego State Aztecs. Darren, Hawaii is 1-5. Well, they were 1-4 at the time. But then again, we can't get too crazy because San Diego State is kind of a middle of the road deal this year too. They won this one 16-14 last week at home. I don't know what was. I heard you saying a lot of great things yesterday on the SoCal Scream Sports Show. What was it about this game that really stood out to you, man? And was this a score you were expecting?
Yes, I actually predicted 17-14 in favor of San Diego State. And basically, you're going to have to, for San Diego State fans, this is the new norm. You're going to have to expect game winning field goals or go ahead field goals. Something that stood out to me was that San Diego State utilized a quarterback, as their quarterback had 322 passing yards, one passing touchdown. It wasn't like the past weeks where the quarterback had like at best 100 or so yards. This time they actually utilized their quarterback to their fullest potential. And I really thought that San Diego State played a solid game, but it's going to have to be mainly their defense carrying the way. They go as far as the defense takes them. And that's the new norm for San Diego State. And I feel that is what everyone should expect. Expect 3-point wins and expect like go ahead field goals. Expect the defense looking to ball out. Expect them to probably bail out San Diego State as well. So this is the new norm until San Diego State figures out its offensive ineptitude.
I totally agree with that. I love how you said that. They will go as far as the defense wants to take them. I I love that because you're totally right. Very strong defense. Offense sometimes doesn't look like they have a clue, but it comes together and they seem to go out pretty well together. So good stuff there. But yeah, a couple of the games, Darren. Tennessee, number 8 Tennessee, knocks off LSU 40-13, as we kind of thought they would. Number 17 TCU and number 19 Kansas have a game to remember, man. 38-31, TCU wins this one in Kansas. The woes continue. What the hell is going on? I mean, I get it, Lincoln Riley left, but my gosh, I mean, oh my gosh, Oklahoma is coming apart at the seams. Wow. Okay, blown out 49-0 in the Cotton Bowl by Texas. Yeah, about that. Number 16, UCLA knocks off number 11, Utah, 42-32, which gives me lots of hope for USC today. But then again, Utah's going to be pissed off about that, and they're going to want to take out their frustration on the Trojans, so I could totally see that. But pretty cool seeing UCLA and USC both ranked. I mean, this is pretty sweet, man. It's not basketball, so cool seeing that. But yeah, guys, I mean, really, we had some good games last week. Number 21, Washington upset 45-38. That was crazy. The Sun Devils won that one big in Tempe, man. That was a great game for them. I don't care if the score wasn't lopsided. Arizona State won that thing, man, knocking off the number 21 Huskies. James Madison does it again, dude. They are a freaking 5-0, or not 5-0, or they have 5-0 team? They're 5-0 team. They are undefeated, First time ever in the FBS. They jumped up from the FCS. North Dakota State. North Dakota State. Looking at you, North Dakota State. When are you going to make that jump, North Dakota State? Anyway, James Madison jumps up, man. Undefeated, knocking off Arkansas State 42-20. They're now ranked for the first time ever in history. And this is also the first time ever in history in the FBS. Gotta love it. Notre Dame pulled it off, Teran. We talked about it last week. We both took BYU, and Notre Dame actually rose to the occasion, 28-20 over number 16 BYU. I mean, there were so many good games last week. Alabama was on the ropes versus Texas A&M, but they pulled it off, 24-20 at home. Number 14 NC State, Mike Pat of Let's Whine About DMV Sports. His grad school versus his undergrad school. Well, his grad school defeated his undergrad school as number 14 NC State defeated unranked Florida State 19-17. I mean, just really good games. And then a little bit of Pac-12 after dark. Number 12 Oregon defeats Arizona 49-22, and Oregon State defeats Stanford 28-27 in a barn burner. And we even have another, what looks like this is a good one too in the Mountain West. Boise State knocks off Fresno State 40-20. So, Teran, any thoughts on any of those games from last week, man?
Well, the UCLA one, I just have a lot of crow to eat, and I really hate to dabble all over this game, but I did not expect Utah to lose that one. They had won 5 in a row over the Bruins, and I just think that they look like a whole different team on the road. Now, today they are at home against USC, and this kind of is going to prove a lot for USC, just because Utah has a very spirited crowd. It's very tough to win at Utah, and also it's higher altitude for that USC has to deal with. So overall, I have to give props to UCLA. First of all, they're bowl game eligible. Second of all, Chip Kelly has done wonders for that program. And third, DTR became the all-time passing touchdowns leader at UCLA.
Impressive win by the Bruins. Like you said, I think it's pretty cool, Teran. I mean, don't you think it's pretty cool seeing both USC and UCLA ranked at the same time?
Yeah.
I mean,
it is. It's amazing.
Whoops, it is. Sorry, that is. I just feel like this is a great deal, man. Like, it's cool seeing both these schools. You love one, hate the other usually, but it's kind of cool seeing them both up there in football. So, with that said, Teran, we got some good ones to look at today, and we'll start with the early games, and then we'll work our way into some high school. But number 10, Penn State, number 5, Michigan State. Teran, it's a battle of two undefeated schools in the Big Ten, where both USC and UCLA are going in a couple of years. But Teran, dude, number 10, Penn State, they look pretty good this year. Last year, I don't know what happened. This year, much better. Michigan, we were all writing off Michigan in the last couple of years because they looked horrible. And, well, it finally happened. They became a good team, I think, last year, and now they're here, number 5. They're favored by 7 points. This is a fun game, Teran. What do you got?
I got Michigan winning this one. If Michigan wants to prove themselves as a true contender, especially for the college football playoff, they're going to need to win this game. I'm quite impressed with how Penn State has done, especially with Sean Clifford. But now this is kind of their true test. And I was going to say, I feel Big Ten West and Big Ten East basically rests in the hands of Penn State. For the Big Ten West, I think Penn State is the heavy favorite. And then Big Ten East is Michigan. And it's Michigan or Ohio State. But either way, I got Michigan winning.
Agreed. I definitely got Michigan winning this one, but it's going to be a heck of a game. Next up, Teran, we got in the afternoon, at least for us over here on the West Coast. Number 3, Alabama. Number 6, Tennessee. 6-0, Crimson Tide. 5-0, Volunteers. Tennessee has been fighting. If they win this game, man, we're going to hear Rocky Top for weeks. I'm just saying, man, This is a battle, and this Tennessee team has come such a long way. It wasn't too long ago where they were like one of the bottom feeders in the SEC. And this program, man, you can't give them enough props. Here they are. They're number 6, and they're taking on this Goliath in Alabama. Granted, Alabama's not number 1, but my gosh, they're still Alabama. So, Teran, they're in Tennessee, man. They're up there today. They're gonna be playing this game in Knoxville. Who you got and why?
If Alabama plays Bryce Young, Alabama wins. But if Bryce Young isn't ready to go, then I got Tennessee. It all depends for Alabama. Basically, Alabama goes as far as Bryce Young can take them. And I really hope he is ready for this game. And he should be. I hope the severity of his shoulder injury isn't as bad as it once was seen earlier. But I got Alabama regardless.
I'm right there with you, Teran. Next up, I feel like, honestly, it's going to be a heck of a game. I think Tennessee's going to give Alabama all they can handle, but I'm going to go with Alabama on this one, man. Number 8, Oklahoma State, who's had a very good season at 5-0, takes on number 13, TCU, who has also had a very good season, man. My gosh, this is going to be a heck of a game. TCU is favored by 5. Teran, what's up?
TCU, I think TCU might be back. It's so weird seeing that just because they pulled off one big win over Oklahoma, and now they've flipped the entire Big 12 on its ear. I remember seeing TCU in the good old days back when they actually took down Oregon. So this is a tough one, honestly. I'm going to go with TCU.
That's a great pick, man. I'm gonna go TCU as well, man. This kid Dugan, this quarterback, I like him, man. He's a pretty solid kid, and I think they're looking pretty good. So I'm gonna go with TCU as well. What should be a close one. And then one more before we get into high school. How about this one? Number 15, NC State, who we saw won last week over Florida State. They're 5-1 coming into this game. And number 18, Syracuse, dude, the Orange Cuse. This is not basketball. This is football, and they're up there. I haven't seen this since Donovan McNabb was playing. No, we've seen them pretty good since then, but every now and then, Syracuse was all right. But 5-0, number 18, Syracuse. They're favored by 3. They're gonna get down coming up later on today. This is going to be I like this. This is probably one of my favorite games of the season. Because why? Because it's an ACC game between two teams who are almost there, but they're not at the top, but they're like in the middle. And this is time to prove everything right now. Both of these schools. So I think we're gonna have probably a dogfight in this one. What do you got, Teran?
I got NC State winning this one. As much as I like Syracuse's story and how they're ranked, I think NC State is proving themselves. And here's the thing for NC State. They were ranked early on, and they had a lot of high expectations. They have to continue to meet those expectations. For Syracuse, if they lose, it's no big deal. I mean, would they be able to stack up with Clemson? That, to me, I feel would not be the case, which is why I got to go with NC State.
That is a great, great analysis. I really want to take Syracuse in this game, man. I want to. They're favored. But it's true. I like what you said, man. You convinced me. I really think NC State's going to pull this thing off somehow because, my gosh, it's true. There's so much riding on this team right now. Syracuse is going to be just fine regardless, I think. But, yeah, I'm going to go NC State as well. So, all right, Sarah. Well, we got some good ones coming up later on. We're going to be talking about, of course, number 16, Mississippi State, and number 22, Kentucky is going to be fun. We're going to go, of course, get into even some unranked games, man. Last night, of course, UCF just obliterating Temple 70-13 in West Virginia. My gosh, Sharon, I don't know if you got a chance to see that one, man. West Virginia pulls this thing off in the last, it was a field goal, man. With 33 seconds to go, Casey Legg. Wow, his last name is Legg. All right, Teran. With 2 G's, Teran. With 2 G's. Legg.
Interesting.
Teran, he can't not be a good kicker. I'm just saying, like,
He's got a leg up on everyone.
He really does. Casey Lake nails a 22-yard field goal to seal this thing for them, for the Mountaineers, with 33 seconds to go in this game. What a game. 43-40 over Baylor. The Mountaineers win this thing. So just what a great job. What a great game in the Big 12 there. But, well, Teran, we got some more to talk about coming up. And, of course, our Saturday Night Football game of the week. Number 4, Clemson at 6-0, taking on Florida State in Tallahassee. Ouch. Believe it or not, though, as much as I want to say ouch for that game, like I just did, Clemson's actually only favored by 4.5 points. Ooh, we're going to have some fun with this one in a little bit. So, okay, maybe we'll find a reason why. Maybe you know that reason. With that said, Teran, let's jump on into some high school, man. But before we do that, we're going to take ourselves a quick break. When we get back, of course, we're going to jump on into some high school. The high school top 10. Oh, my gosh, so many great games here. Let's just say Mater Dei did what Mater Dei does, as they are now back to the number 1 team in the country, just eating Orange Lutheran alive. And, well, even though St. John Bosco would fall to Mater Dei last week and to number 4 in the standings, they still did their thing versus J. Sarah. So we got a lot to get into, of course, in some high school football, and plenty more coming up after that. You're listening to 3 and Out, College Edition, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll be right back with some high school football after this.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daryl Kinsey Jr., and I'm welcoming you to take another lap with the fastest show on IE Sports Radio. Yes, this is the Extra Mile with me and my co-hosts Christopher Lehman and Michael Ward. We talk everything racing from NASCAR to IndyCar to Formula One to limited hydroplanes, endurance racing, the NHRA, and more. So come join us for an hour of great racing talk and a lot of fun as well on the Extra Mile, Thursdays at 8 p.m. only on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey there, sports fans. Are you looking for a sports show that maybe isn't 100% about sports?
Then you might want to check out the Sports Couple Perspectives right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Most sports shows cover only scores and stats, and while we're not opposed to that, we dig a little deeper into sports issues and some of the hottest topics in athletics.
In addition to sports, we take a journey through my neck of the woods, pop culture, with movie reviews of both sports and non-sports films.
Speaking of pop culture, make sure to participate in our game nights, where we quiz each other on our specialties, and you, the listeners, can win IE Sports Radio apparel.
We always have a great time learning more about each other's worlds, one show at a time.
So join us each week on the Sports Couple Perspectives, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Are you a fan of Buffalo sports? Are you thinking of changing loyalties and becoming a Buffalo sports fan? Do you even know where Buffalo is on the map? Did you know Canada is closer to Buffalo than New York City? Welcome to the Buffalo Huddle, every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 4 p.m. Pacific Coast Time on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Patty Bax. This is a podcast designed for you, the passionate sports fan. I know you love your sports. Who doesn't? I cover Buffalo sports and so much more by bringing in the human elements. I call it Buffalo Sports with a Twist. Join me as we take a journey into the world of Buffalo sports. I guarantee you'll fall in love with Buffalo just like I did. Each week we start with an inspiration, question of the day, a Buffalo fun fact, and our weekly challenge to you, the listener. Come huddle up with me. Every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 4 p.m. Pacific Coast Time for the Buffalo Huddle with Patty Bax on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. As we say in Buffalo,
That is correct, ladies
go
and gentlemen.
Bills.
IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Great shows there, of course, the Buffalo Huddle. You don't want to miss that one. Patty Bax brings it every week. Amazing content. That woman is just awesome. So awesome stuff there. You also heard the sports couple perspectives. We had some fun last night, Celia and I. We are back. I think Friday night is going to be our night. And we had some fun last night. Cool stuff. Sports and pop culture blended together. Fun stuff there. And of course, Daryl Kinsey Jr., Chris Lehman, and of course, Mr. Michael Ward, the Extra Mile Thursday evenings. Great stuff there. You can also catch the Buffalo Huddle on Tuesday evenings. So awesome stuff here, and just gotta love it. Speaking of Teran, I guess had to do that, right? I guess had to go to that territory real quick. I know we're supposed to get to high school really fast, but you gotta love it, man. Today, Buffalo, they're 3-3. Those Buffalo Bulls. We kind of made fun of them at the start of the season, going 0-3, but hey, they've won 3 straight. They lost 3 straight, and they won 3 straight. Teran, go figure that. But they will be taking on the Minutemen of UMass. I think that's who they are. Coming up today on the road in Amherst, Massachusetts. They're 1-5. Can the Buffalo Bulls win this one? I think so, Teran. I think so. I think they might win 4 straight. I don't know.
I think it's doable. I got them winning today. On the topic of college football, and I hate to bounce away from Buffalo, but I just found out next year Notre Dame is scheduling an FCS school. They are scheduling Tennessee State. So for those that are keeping track, there are currently only 2 schools that have not scheduled an FCS school, USC and Notre Dame. So once the 2023 season hits, and unless Notre Dame switches its schedule around, USC will be the only school to not schedule an FCS school. So good job for USC, and that was kind of a little bit of a tidbit for you all.
That's what I'm talking about, Teran. That's what I'm talking about. SC, the only school to not do it. Hey, we don't want cupcake games, gosh dang it. I like that. And I guess maybe, Teran, is that a sign that Notre Dame is going to be joining a conference soon? What?
Perhaps.
I mean, I kind of want that. I think we all do. But great stuff there, Teran. Thank you for the tidbit. Always great stuff. I see Teran's like a Snapple, man. He just knows all kinds of stuff. I love it. So, all right, Teran, let's roll on into the last this last past week. North Shore out of Houston, they remain number 10 this league, defeating Westbrook 56-7. Ouch. Westbrook is now 0-7 out of Beaumont, Texas, and North Shore jumps to 7-0. Going over to number 9, Chandler. They are now 6-0 on the season. Well, they've been at a bye week last week. And, well, this last past week, and they'll be taking on Mountain View. Coming on up next Friday, Mountain View currently 2-4 out of Mesa, Arizona. So, see how that goes next week. Buford, Georgia will win a good one last night over Mill Creek at home. Mill Creek coming from Hodgson, I believe. I don't want to butcher that name, out of Georgia. But 39-27. Buford has seen some tough games this year, man. They have really had some good games, but they've continued to win. They're now 7-0, so hats off to that team from Georgia, Buford. Madonna, if I'm not mistaken, they were currently somewhere. I don't know if they were higher than this. I don't know if they dropped it all. But they just did win a game last night over Somerset Academy Key, the Somerset Academy Key Lions out of Deerfield Beach, Florida. Teran Madonna out of Hollywood, Florida, is now 6-0, the Lions. And they would play some other Lions last night. It was a Lion Bowl. Teran, do you know what the final score of that game was?
Please enlighten me.
90-0, Teran. 90. 10 away from 100, Teran.
Okay, it wasn't as bad as the other one that I mentioned last week, but
I guess, yeah. Wow. Madonna was not playing, but they're trying to jump up in the ranks. I noticed, I know that I've seen that. I've seen like that video of that crazy high school coach that everyone hated in Texas, I guess, whatever. Like, he's just trying to pad the stats, man. Like, that's how you make the playoffs. That's how you get a higher bracket. I mean, I hate to say it, but once you have to go high, you have to. If you don't freaking
and prepare for the playoffs too.
Well, yeah, you gotta prepare for the playoffs, man. So I mean, hey, you're gonna face some really strong teams. It's not your fault sometimes if you're not in a higher division. So next up, number 6, St. Thomas Aquinas, now 7-0, defeating Fort Lauderdale 49-13. Ouch. So yeah, Fort Lauderdale drops to 4-3 on the season, but St. Thomas Aquinas currently ranked number 6. We'll see where they go after this week. Bishop Gorman only lost this year to Mater Dei. Well, Teran, they looked pretty good yesterday, defeating Palo Verde out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Teran, do you know what this final score was?
Lay it on me.
70-0. Hey.
Wasn't as bad. Wasn't as bad as Centennial's. What was it? 86-0 against Santiago.
Yeah, that was kind of jacked up, and that was like to start the season too. I remember Teran sends me this freaking message, like, and I love it because Teran just sends them at the perfect times. I mean, I think he like times this in my life perfectly. I'm just kidding. He sends them at the time where I'm like kind of just chilling, and I'm just like I'm hanging out. Celia and I are doing something or whatever, or I'm just kind of we're just kind of chilling. And I know I get like a message or a tweet, and I look and I'm like, oh my gosh. She's like, what happened? So yeah, Teran, kind of funny stuff there, but. So Bishop Gorman rolls on to 7-1. Top 4 now. St. John Bosco dropped number 4 last week after their loss to Mater Dei, but they will defeat J. Sarah 30-0 last night at home. J. Sarah, of course, coming from South Orange County. Central, out of Miami, has now jumped up to number 3 in the nation, and they would defeat Norland 53-7 last night. Norland drops to 4-2 on the season out of Miami, and Central out of Miami gets rolled. By the way, you guys, I want to throw that out there too. St. John Bosco, of course, out of Bellflower, and J. Sarah, they are playing out of San Juan Capistrano in Southern California. Next up, St. Francis Academy. They do the dang thing, man. 5-0 now on the season. They're number 2 in the nation. I don't understand why they have such a big gap, like a month between games. Kind of crazy, but it is what it is. They don't play again for another couple of weeks versus Arundel. So they'll be coming up. And then, of course, Mater Dei last night, 8-0, undefeated. Orange Lutheran, they just kind of ran them over like a speed bump, man. 48-6. Orange Lutheran playing out of Orange, California. Not too far from Santa Ana. And Mater Dei just racks it up, man. 3-0 in the Trinity League. Number 1 in the nation. They just look good. So, Teran, give it to us, man. Any those games stand out for you? And, of course, go ahead and elaborate on those top 5 games we just talked about, man. What you got?
So I've seen J. Sarah this season. I was very surprised that Bosco shut him out, but I guess Bosco is indeed a cut above the rest, and I really think that the top 2 is solidified as Mater Dei Bosco. I think the big question is, who's going to be number 3, because the top 3 teams do qualify for the playoffs. Though I would not be surprised to see Orange Lutheran or J. Sarah qualify for the playoffs as at-larges. So for me, I think the number 3 team is going to be Santa Margarita unless they have a tumble against Orange Lutheran, which would cause a lot of chaos in the Trinity League. But I think your top 3 is Mater Dei, Bosco, Santa Margarita, and then 4 will probably be Olu, 5 will be J. Sarah, and then sadly, Servite has to bring up the rear. But their strength of schedule could help them get into the playoffs.
Yeah, Jay Sarah, man, they kind of took one on the head last night. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. Servite, being this big, powerful program that they've been for years. This year, I mean, the Trinity League is a tough league, man. So you're getting ready to go D1 in this league, man. I mean, it's just that kind of a battle. But how about last night, man? Mater Dei just stepping all over Olu. I mean, I guess it was expected, but man, Orange Lutheran didn't even score a point.
Yeah, I had a feeling that Mater Dei wasn't going to have too much of a letdown. Mater Dei has like a lot of good players, and remember, their quarterback Elijah Brown. He has not lost a game for Mater Dei in his tenure at quarterback. So for me, Mater Dei, I think they're basically on the course of being the number 1 seed for the up-and-coming CIF Southern Section playoffs. And I think we're basically going to see Mater Dei St. John Bosco in the final, unless possibly Corona Centennial pulls off the upset in the semifinals against Bosco, or heaven forbid, Poly or Mission Viejo pull off the upset on Mater Dei in the semifinals. But expect Mater Dei St. John Bosco round 2.
That is going to be good. And I am excited for it. So, Teran, let's move on over now into and what a great stuff there in high school, of course. Gotta love it, man. Always a great conversation talking high school football around the country. And, let's talk a little bit. I got the message out a little bit late, and I didn't even post it this week like how I thought I was. My apologies, you guys. But the high school spotlight, Mike Pat says NC Central in Durham is the first in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. Cool. I don't know if I think he didn't finish his his sentence there. But Teran, how about the high school spotlight for you, good sir? How did those Newport Harbor Sailors, right? Teran, Sailors?
Yes.
Sailors? How did they do last night, or did they play?
They played, and they won on their homecoming against Fountain Valley, 42-15. After giving up the game's first touchdown, they basically didn't allow the other team to score until the end, pretty much the later stages of the fourth quarter. And next week they have their big rivalry game against Corona Del Mar in the Battle of the Bay game. A big high school football matchup I saw this week on Thursday was Edison versus Los Alamitos. Los Alamitos came out victorious as USC quarterback Malachi Nelson was just amazing. Someone else that was quite amazing was Mekhi Lemon, who's also bound for USC. He's also a wide receiver, but he also played corner, as he even had a pick 6, and he had a 73-yard receiving touchdown from his future USC teammate Malachi Nelson. And then also this running back who's going to Colorado State, Damian Henderson. This dude is for real. He had his second straight game where he totaled 200-plus rushing yards. And this dude is going to be a problem for the Mountain West Conference. Give this man the ball. And heaven knows we could see this man playing on Sundays. So Damian Henderson, name to watch out for. Even though he's not going to a Power 5 school, he is just going to be a beast for Colorado State. And then obviously USC fans are salivating at the fact that they're going to be seeing Malachi Nelson and Mekhi Lemon. So it was a big spirited atmosphere from both fan bases, and I was quite happy for that I attended. It was my first time attending this type of game.
That's pretty awesome, Darren. Pretty cool here. I certainly do think that Newport Harbor, man, next week should be a fun game. Looks like, as you said already, Corona Del Mar, CDM, solid team. They're coming in at 6-2. You guys are coming in at 5-3. Taryn, will you be in attendance?
Oh, for sure. It's going to be a fun game. David Razor is a phenomenal quarterback for CDM. He's going to UC Davis, and he came back from, I think it was like a high ankle sprain, but the fact that he is back throwing touchdowns to his teammates is quite amazing. Cooper Hoke is also a wide receiver to watch for on the Sea Kings. And this week, Newport Harbor, I forgot to mention, they did not have their top wide receiver, Cashton Henjum, he had a hamstring injury. Head coach Peter Lofthouse told me that he practiced in limited fashion and he didn't feel good enough to go. So they gave him the night off and they're going to hold him out for next week, which I think is the smart decision, just because they'd rather have him for big games like that than for not so, I wouldn't say Fountain Valley is a not so big game, but I think down the road, Newport Harbor would rather have Cashton Henjum at 100% than him playing at less than 100% going forward.
Well, that's awesome, Darren. And on my side of the woods, the Paris Panthers, man, 6-2 now. Took a nice victory last night, 14-7 over Citrus Hill. Bummer for Citrus Hill; they haven't won a game all year. They're now 0-8. So Paris, the other team in Paris, just another one too, Orange Vista. And I think CMI is over there too as well. But yeah, man, Paris 14-7 in a very tough game here. 7-all at the half, scoreless third quarter, and then one touchdown for Paris in the end of the game here in the fourth quarter. 6-2 now. I can't remember the last time Paris was 6-2, man. So awesome stuff there. Congratulations to them. Paris next week will be taking on the monster that has come out of the Paris district now. Of course, Liberty High School. Taryn, if you saw this high school, it's a freaking college. It's beautiful, man. I mean, my gosh, everything is glass. They have like a glass bridge there. I mean, I've been there a few times to sub when I was a sub. And, dude, it's amazing. The weight room, they stole like that. But they took that like college feel where the weight room has gigantic glass windows on one side and it faces the football field, over the football field, so you can see the field while you're working out. It's Taryn, it's awesome. It is such a nice school. Really cool colors. They got they're the Bison, but they kind of look like a cross between the Buffalo Bulls and UNC and Duke. They have like that dark blue, light blue kind of thing going on. They throw some black in there. It's kind of cool. But anyway, the Paris Panthers will be taking on Liberty this year. And the reason why I'm talking about them so much is because they are just incredible. They only have juniors this year, man. They're a brand new high school 2 years ago. So they started with just sophomores, or I think last year they just opened. Started with sophomores. This year they finally got a varsity team, and they are undefeated, bro. This team is great. Just awesome stuff, man. And Coach Brooks is doing great things over there. 7-1, because they would lose last night. Kind of crazy. They lost last night 42-0 to San Jacinto. Of course, San Jack is no one to play with. Very athletic football team. Very strong offensive line. I mean, overall, this is a pretty good football team. And San Jack's looking good. So Liberty took their first one on the chin last night, but so what? They're 7-1. I mean, great game there. And, well, looks like they'll be taking on Paris next week. So Paris will be heading on over to Liberty, I believe, yes, in Winchester, California. We're up the road from Paris, and, well, should be a good game right now. Paris is 1-2 in the Mountain Pass League, and as it goes, San Jacinto right now, 3-0, Liberty 2-1, Tockwitz 2-1, West Valley 1-2, Paris 1-2, and Citrus 0-3 in the league. So, with that said, Taryn, that will do it for our high school spotlight. But as you know, Taryn, my high school, my spotlight continues with the, I don't even know what to say. I was going to say beloved, my beloved, but of course with the dominant RCC Tigers. Oh yeah, Taryn, I'm just a happy guy, man. RCC. Oh my gosh, man, this team has just made me happy all season long. And here we go again this week. They didn't play last week on my wife's birthday on the 8th. But they are going to play today, Teran. They are. And the Riverside Tigers are going to be taking on Palomar. Palomar was a team that we were 3-0 when I was a freshman there, Teran. And that was the first team to give us a loss in Game 4. Tough school, man. Palomar, of course. Coach Kraft knows that school a little too well. Kraft was there for a very long time as a coach before he went on to San Diego State University. And then, of course, I think over to Mount San Antonio, Mount Sac, and then over to RCC. Just in time to coach me. And then those teams in the late 2000s. But Teran, moving into the 2010s, that is. But Teran, man, today Riverside, Palomar, the go head-to-head, should be a very good game. On top of that, Southwestern and Golden West, I mean, I see no reason why Golden West should lose that game, even though, Southwestern has a nice campus. But not the really cool field. That was my first college game ever in Chula Vista. But Citrus takes on Orange Coast. All right, Teran, let's see if they can get it done today. Grossmont will be coming on over 2 exits down from us to take on Mount San Jacinto College, the Eagles. Got some good stuff going on there. Also, we got, let's see, what else was there that I thought was pretty good? El Camino and San Antonio. Mount San Antonio should be a solid football game there. My gosh, that's a good one all the time. Ventura, Long Beach, San Diego, Mesa, and Saddleback going head-to-head. We got American River and Shasta, Chaffee and Cerritos. We got some good games today, Teran. Pasadena City College and College of the Desert, COD. Really, really good games today. By the way, last week was kind of a bye week-ish kind of a week. But just to throw these out there, El Camino defeated Santa Monica 55-7. Ouch. Elko goes to 3-2. Santa Monica will fall to 1-4. And if there was any other games that looked, let's just take a look at. Oh, this was a pretty good one. Redwoods defeated Los Medanos 48-41. Redwoods jumps to 3-2 as Los Medanos will drop to 2-3. And then Merced 4-1 defeats Cabrillo. 41-3, that is. Merced jumps to 4-1. Cabrillo will drop to 1-5. So, Teran, any thoughts on those games last week, or any thoughts coming up on some games today in the 3C2A?
So you mentioned OCC and Citrus. Citrus, I think this. Okay, this is obviously going to start conference play for both Orange Coast and Citrus. Citrus, they're 5-0 if I'm not mistaken. Something I do need to make note of for Citrus is they did recently lose one of their teammates as Luke Pruitt unfortunately passed away on, I think it was October 7th or 6th. It was a Tuesday, but either way, it is quite sad. I imagine Citrus is playing with a heavy heart, and I probably expect Orange Coast to do something classy to honor him, and I'm pretty sure Citrus is doing everything to play for Pruitt. I think that would be a little MO right there. Play for Pruitt, just because he would basically want that for Citrus going forward. Larry, I hate to jump away from the 3C2A college aspect, but back to the high school side of things. There was actually some history made last night in football, as there was actually a girl who scored 2 touchdowns for Laguna Beach High School, as she became the first high school football player who is a high school girls football player to score 2 touchdowns in one game. Bella Rasmussen scored on 2 carries, and basically she made history. So that's another little Snapple fun fact for you. I didn't mean to bounce away from 3C2A, but anyway, I think we've got some good games lined up, and I'm excited for the 3C2A this week. I'm glad everyone has their buys out of the way for the most part, and this week is conference play, and we're going to get some good games. I'm interested to see how Mount San Jacinto stacks up against Grossmont. I'm sure they'll win, and I think that's pretty much it for the most part. Ventura Long Beach should be an interesting matchup, as well as El Camino Mount San Antonio. And Chaffee Cerritos is also a sneaky good matchup. And don't sleep on Palomar. Palomar is kind of that night and day team every season for the most part. And they're fairly good at their home turf, but I got Riverside winning that one.
Good choice, Teran. Good choice. So, congratulations. Hats off to the young lady who scored those 2 touchdowns. Hats off to her. Really cool there for Laguna High School. And unfortunately, to the young man who passed and the rest of the last piece and the family beats them down to the family, that is just very tough. So once again, congratulations to the young lady who scored those 2 touchdowns. But rest in peace to that player from Citrus. What was Pruitt, right? Was who passed?
Yeah,
away?
Luke Pruitt.
Rest in peace, Luke Pruitt. And who was the young lady who scored those touchdowns?
Bella Rasmussen.
Bella Rasmussen. Well, congratulations to you.
First female to score 2 touchdowns in California in a game.
That is awesome. Well, congratulations to her, and just some great news and some terrible news all in one right there, Teran. So great stuff as always. But great stuff. Looking forward to it. And well, let's go Riverside. That's what I got to say, man. So Teran, moving forward, last week in the NJCAA here, Coffeyville actually played a pretty good game versus Iowa State. The Ravens knock off Iowa Central 47-30. They're both now 4-2 on the season. Garden City will defeat Independence 17-7 and jump to 3-3 as Independence will fall to 1-4. Tough game for the Independence Pirates. I believe they're the Pirates. But tough game there for them. And, Jones will jump to 6-0 as they defeat Pearl River 16-10. Pearl River will drop to 3-3. And one more game. Actually, a couple more. My gosh, we had a couple good ones here. Snow. Well, they looked good last year. I don't know. This year, they're 4-2. And they would fall 26-0 to Iowa Western, who is now 6-0. Hutchinson, 6-0, will defeat Dog City 47-14. Dog City will drop to 2-4. So crazy stuff there, Teran. But moving forward into this week, we have, I like some of these games. I really, really, really do. Butler will host Iowa Central, which should be a very good game there. Highland, Kansas, and Independence. That's another, looks like a solid one there coming up. New Mexico Military, the defending champs, are heading over to play Cisco. Garden City will be taking on Snow. Ellsworth taking on Dog City. And then, of course, I know we had some games, as you always say, Teran. For some reason, the Mississippi teams play on Thursdays. They like their Thursdays. So, and a couple other teams do too. Pearl River will defeat Copia Lincoln 24-14. Jones moves to 7-0. My gosh, man. Jones College is playing great football. 48-3 over Southwest Mississippi. And looks like here, let's see, any close ones? No, here's a good one here. East Mississippi, the first last chance U school will fall to Northeast Mississippi. 31-21. They're both 4-3 now on the season. And Northwest Mississippi, if I'm not mistaken, they were champs a couple years ago as well. Defeat Coahoma 44-21. Northwest Mississippi is now 7-1. So, any thoughts on the NJCAA this week, Teran?
So, one of the matchups that you just mentioned, what was it, the Jones matchup? I was very surprised that was as close as it needed to be. Credit to Pearl River. I think Pearl River is a little underrated, if you ask me. And they had their opportunities, but it's just that it looked like Jones played a little bit better defense. And that's kind of the game of, I wouldn't say inches, but I think that's the game of what truly matters. And defense was what mattered in this game. And sometimes you'll get your high-scoring offenses, but this game, it looked like this was more of a defensive bout. And credit to Jones, they're 7-0. I kind of forgot that they played on Thursday instead of Saturday, but again, that's kind of a whole little Mississippi thing, and how maybe it's like a state law or something, or I don't know. We'll one day look into that.
It's a state law, Darren. Oh, I gotta love it. Well, let's go ahead and jump on over now, man. We had some pretty good games in D3 last week, and let's take a look at them. So, we have some blowouts, of course. We have number 16 Delaware Valley destroying Lycoming 21-0. Even though it's not really a destroy, they still shut them out. Number 12 Ithaca will just stomp all over Rochester 56-10 there. Then we have here, let's see, moving forward, Mount Union doing what Mount Union usually does. Number 2, they will defeat Heidelberg 28-6. So there you are for last week. Some pretty solid games from last week. Let's move it on to this week, Teran. We should have some. I really think there should be some good games this week. We're getting, of course, conference plays here. We're getting deep into it. Mount Union would take on Capital. I don't know if they're in the same conference. I don't even know who Capital is, but I do know that Mount Union is a monster. So St. John's taking on St. Olaf, I believe. Wheaton, Illinois will take on Carthage. Mary Hardin Baylor takes on Texas Lutheran. Number 1, North Central will take on Milliken this week. And yeah, looks like Linfield and Pacific go head-to-head. Washington U and Augustana, Brevard and Huntington, Nebraska Westland and Wartburg, Concordia, Moorhead and Bethel, East Texas Baptist and Hardin Simmons. Some pretty good games this week, Terrence. So what you got for D3 this week, good sir?
Yeah, we got some good games going on, and apparently my website does not want to cooperate, but I want to see how Bridgewater and Randolph-Macon goes up, how that goes out. I mean, I don't know if that's going to be a matchup that piques anyone's interest, but I'm kind of interested in that little matchup.
That should be a good game. Teran, I gotta ask though. We've seen James Madison jump up, right? And Teran, James Madison won in 2016, if I'm not mistaken, right? They defeated North Dakota State, and they would keep North Dakota State. I think North Dakota State right now, within 10 years, they've won like 8 or 9 championships. James Madison was like a wrench in the gears. They were like an undefeated streak. Well, not undefeated, but they were winning every single year. James Madison would knock them off. And the crazy thing is, that's the last championship James Madison would win, Teran. They didn't win anything since then. They've been playoffs, and they've been good, but they made the jump and they're solid. Tarleton State. Teran, the last time we talked about Tarleton State was in D2 last year. They were good. They weren't this monster, solid, crazy team, but they were good. Good football team, well coached, and you know what? They're looking solid. Teran, you got schools like North Dakota State that they can play Arizona and lose by 3 points, but they don't move up after all those years of dominating. You have schools like Tarleton State who moved up anyway to FCS because they just want to play and compete at a higher level. You have schools like Mount Union that have dominated. My gosh, Teran, they dominated from like 93 all the way to like the late 2010s, or late 2000s. They're still a dominant team, yet they've never made the jump to D2. Teran, I think it's time to discuss this real quick, brother. What is it? What do you think? Is it let's win 1,000 championships and then move up because we want to have the championships behind us? Or is it a money deal? I don't know if it costs money to move up. I don't know what it is. But Teran, what the hell is it, man? Why don't some of these schools, in your opinion, move up when you think they should after dominating for so long at the lower levels?
Yeah, this is kind of an interesting little topic to discuss. I feel it's basically based on like dominance. I was gonna suggest maybe have like a evaluation of which teams have been doing good on an annual basis, so maybe like a 2, 3, maybe 4-year basis, and whichever teams are struggling, they get bumped down to a lower division, and then the teams that are doing really well, they get bumped up to a higher division. But there's just there would be so many teams to like go over in terms of like FBS, FCS, NCAA Division One, not NCAA Division One, NCAA Division Two, and then NCAA Division Three, because that would just be a whole process of shifting teams from one division to another, and then another and another. So it would just be quite a number of like possible. It would just be a complete mess of just keeping track of things. And unless, of course, there's like a Division 1 and Division 2 committee with like 100 people that could keep track of every conference, every team, as well as like a Division 2 and Division 3 committee that could keep track of every team and every conference. It'll take some time, unless, of course, the committee says this team is doing really way too good and we have to basically realign them. And it would just probably be for football. It wouldn't just be for like any other sports. So it's kind of like certain other schools, like what's a good example? I don't want to use a California school as an example, but I think, like you said, who is the team that's currently ranked for the first time in a while?
In a
James
while, or
Madison.
James Madison, they're number 25. This is their first year in the FBS, dude, and they're ranked.
Yeah, that's a prime example. I think everyone thought James Madison has done really good, and they were like, we got to put him into the FBS. And they must have like looked deep within their history just because. And James Madison must have a great history considering obviously they've had lots of success in the FCS, and they just said, let's put them in FBS and let's see how they do. And I think this should be like a little bit of a process for all of these top teams in the FCS. Like maybe put them in division FBS and then for like a couple of years. And if they stack up well, they stay in the FBS. But if they don't stack up well, then you basically got to drop them back a little. But I think the benefit would probably be making them bowl game. That would be another thing. Like, would James Madison be like bowl game eligible since they transitioned from FCS to FBS? Because sometimes some of these teams that make the transfer from Division 2 to Division 1, they can't be like tournament eligible for 4 years. So I kind of wonder if James Madison will be bowl game eligible, unless of course that doesn't apply to college football. But overall, this is it would just be like a little bit of a process of let's see how some of these teams do in FBS as opposed to FCS, just because you don't want to have the same teams dominating. And obviously, college teams cannot play like NFL teams. That actually did happen one time, and it was a complete failed experiment. I don't know which game it was. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers took on a college football team, and let's just say it got ugly.
Yeah, no matter what, it's not. Yeah, that was. I remember KTO made a video about that on YouTube. I think a long time ago. But yeah, it's a horrible, stupid idea. These are grown men versus young guys who are just coming up. I mean, it's no comparison, you know. But at the end of the day, Teran, I totally agree, man. Some of these schools, come on, man. Can we just move up a little bit? I mean, really, James Madison, exactly, prime example. I mean, they're dominating, man. They're playing well at the next level. I mean, a challenge sometimes, you know, it's just nice. So, moving on up to Division 2, Teran. Last week, my goodness, number 2 Grand Valley gives it to American International, 45-3, looking good there. Oh my gosh, California University gave IUP all they could handle. Number 20 IUP barely wins this one, 22-21 in a very good game there. Next up after that, let's see here, unranked schools. Let's see who did what on the ranks. Ferris State, man, barely gets this thing going. And what a game it was, my gosh. 33-28 over Saginaw Valley, number 25. Matt, you know, Teran, there was something special about Saginaw Valley, man. They looked good. They fought. They came to play. Ferris State barely won this thing on the road, but hats off, man. Saginaw Valley played them very, very, very well. My gosh, what a football game. Wish that one could have been televised, man. That's better than some of the games we get on TV. So I'll tell you that right now. Frostburg State will knock off number 22 Notre Dame 33-30. They got an upset there. And yeah, Division 2 is full of surprises, man. There's so many great games every week. And well, we had another one last week. Pittsburgh State, number 6 Pittsburgh State defeats Northwestern Missouri, number 10, 40-22. And just good football games overall, man, from last week. So many of them. And Division 2 just seems to just roll on. There are so many games. But that was pretty much it for like the ranked on ranked and big time games from last week. This week we got some good stuff coming on up here, but man, some ones last week for sure. This week for ranked on ranked, I don't even know if there's too many of them, but let me see here. Oh my gosh, Teran, this is the one. This is the one. Number 2, Grand Valley, and number 1, Ferris State. We got a 2 versus 1. This is the game. I mean, that's no slight on any other games, especially the ranked on ranked games. I don't even know if there's... Well, number 23, Benedict, and number 20 and number 14 Albany State. Pretty good there, pretty good game. Looks like it should be a good ranked on ranked. But let's see if there's any more ranked on ranked, because I'm just giving the attention to this one right here. Any more, and no, it looks like
Benedict and Albany States.
Albany State, number 14, man. But yeah, that's the only other ranked on ranked. The big one though, oh my gosh, Teran, Ferris State. They were challenged by Saginaw State last week, and well, last week, this monster team from Grand Valley, they keep on winning. Ferris State got a challenge. How about this game this week, Teran? Number 2 versus number 1. My gosh, this should be a game. I mean, my gosh, what a way, right? When you get number 1 versus number 2.
Yeah, I can go as far as to say that this should probably be nationally televised, or at least put on like maybe ESPNU or something along those lines. I think this number 2 versus number 1 is always a barn burner, especially if both these teams if there's like not a whole lot separating these two teams. I'm really excited for this matchup. I think Ferris State and Grand Valley should basically they're going to give it their all, and I would not be surprised to see a 1-score win from either one of these teams. So.
Totally with you, man. Both undefeated teams here. Very, very, very good school. Both in the GLIAC, G-L-I-A-C, I think that's how they say it. But, man, I'm just looking forward to this one tonight. Well, it's coming up against a little bit, actually, in Big Rapids, Michigan, going down today. We got 2 Michigan teams. Grand Valley from Allendale, head on over to Big Rapids. This is a great game. It's actually coming up in an hour, Teran. So this is going to be a solid football game. Number 1 versus number 2. You got to love these games, all right? So that's pretty much it for Division 2 this week. But, man, great stuff there. And then, of course, the NAIA. Teran, last week, man, we saw some pretty good games. Reinhardt defeated Kentucky Christian 47-21. Then, of course, we see here, let's see, where were some of the higher ones, or not higher, but, the big-time ranked games here. But let's see. Well, Morningside did what Morningside does, still number 1 in the country, and at least from what I think, 70-17 over Hastings. Just a dominant performance over Hastings there, and Morningside looks like they can just go back-to-back if they want. Looks like Marion will fall to Indiana Wesleyan. A tough game there. That would be 17-10 at home as well. Next up here, we got Texas Wesleyan defeating Sagu 30-0. And Arizona Christian defeats Leon. I don't know how you pronounce that, but 60-8. So yeah, some solid stuff from last week's games. And then, of course, moving into this week. All right, Teran. The NAIA, a special... I love it. Always great football there. And, well, this coming week, looks like we have Marion St. Francis. I don't know. I think I don't know if they already played. I don't know. But they should be playing right now, somewhere in there. But that's actually a pretty solid game. Morningside will be taking on Jamestown in Jamestown, North Dakota. Good football game as well. And let's see if there's anything else. What we got today in the NAIA, Tabor and Southwestern going head-to-head. Baker and Mid-America Nazarene. And just rolling down the list. Reinhardt and Bluefield presentation, and Dakota State, Warner and Kaiser, and Pikeville versus Cumberland. So, yeah, the NAIA, good stuff here as always. I'm really interested to see what the heck happens with the Marion St. Francis game. To me, that's the game of the week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree. Morningside at Jamestown might be a sneaky good game as well. And there was a game I talked about last week that did go down to the wire, and it had one team winning by 3 points, as I want to say it was College of Idaho and Montana Tech. That one was a very good matchup. College of Idaho narrowly escaped with the win over Montana Tech, winning 27-24. And overall, I had a sneaking suspicion that would be a good game right there. So lots of good games going on in the NAIA. Like you said, Marion St. Francis is definitely a game to watch for. I want to continue to see if Morningside can continue its dominance over the Jimmies.
Well, we shall see, Teran. Lots of great stuff there on the NAIA as we get closer and closer and closer to this. We're in the thick of the season, as the show as the title says. We're in the thick of the season. We're ready to roll for the biggest, toughest games usually of the season. So we're going to take ourselves one more break for the morning, and well, when we come back, we got FCS and wrapping it up with the FBS. It's going to be some fun stuff. Let's have some fun. My boy Teran Rodriguez, me, your boy Larry B. We are right here live on 3 and Out College Edition right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports, and we'll be right back talking more college football after this.
Sports fans, do you like teams that are tough, cities that are tougher, and fan bases that are passionate about their teams? How about teams that are historic and stadiums that are iconic? Then you belong in Chicago, and you need to check out Chi-Town Weekly. Join me, Adam Kernan, every week as we keep up with all things Chicago sports. Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, White Sox. We'll cover them all, plus more. The Windy City is always buzzing, and we'll keep you up on all the big games and major stories. So tune in to Chi-Town Weekly every week right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's good, fight fans? It's your boy, Marcus Los Great, here to give you what you want, here to give you what you need. Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm coming to you live, straight from your mama's basement with a crispy, awesome white tea. We are coming to you live every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, indeed. IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Coming back with my boy Teran Rodriguez for the final segment of the show, right here on 3 and Out College Edition on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports, if I haven't said that enough already. But let's go ahead and get on to the dang thing. The new rankings are in, Teran. Looks like I found them, thankfully, because the FCS rankings are just really hard to find sometimes. I don't know why. But NCAA.com seems to have them. Sweet. So North Dakota State holds down that top spot. Then South Dakota State, Montana State, Sacramento State. Top 5. Sweet. All right, so there we are. Now, Teran, let's move on over into the actual games themselves from last week. We had a little Ivy League matchup here. Yale defeating Dartmouth 24-21, and looks like a great game there. Also last week, Harvard over Cornell 35-28. I think we talked about that last week as well, last week. Then we have a game that seems, wow. It's either Indiana State. I know their baseball team is pretty good. They made it to the College World Series a couple years ago, if I'm not mistaken, last year. I don't know. But I do know their football team looked to have a pretty good game as well last week, because North Dakota State would be challenged 31-26. How about Indiana State coming to play, man? They were at home, by the way, so they fought very well to defend their turf. Failed effort, but man, what a great game that was for them. Then, of course, we have here, let's see, any craziness. No, South Dakota State destroys their rivals, in-state rivals. South Dakota 28-3, just a beat down there. Prime time, of course, Prime's team, Deion Sanders. Jackson State 26-12 over Alabama State. Very good game there. Northern Arizona NAU over Cal Poly 31-29. Cal Poly will fall to 1-4 now as NAU jumps to 2-4. The team that got all the way to the end last year and fell to North Dakota State, who should move to freaking the FBS. Oh, did I say that? I'm sorry. Montana State 37-26 over Idaho State. Unfortunately, Idaho State falls to 0-6. So yeah, lots of good games last week. Portland State, man, looks like their women's volleyball team got a pretty nice victory looks like yesterday or a couple days ago. But they will defeat Lincoln, California, 48-6 there. North Dakota over Youngstown, the Fighting Hawks, 35-30 there. So yeah, some good football games last weekend. Weber State over Eastern Washington, 45-21. And Tarleton, we just talked about them jumping up from Division II to the FCS. They're currently 4-1, man. They just knocked off Southern Utah 42-40. How about that, man? Hats off to them. So yeah, Teran, how about some of those games? And then of course today we have here, let's go ahead and move it on into this coming week number 8. And well, here we are moving forward. And we got some, Princeton Harvard. That's not a big deal at all. Big time Ivy League matchup there. Should be solid. We also have here, let's see. We got some monster games. And man, what the heck? Where are all the good ones at? This week is a dud, Teran. Oh no, South Dakota State versus North Dakota. Another pretty solid game there. Eastern Washington, and Cal Poly, both 1-4 teams. Who will get the victory today? Southwestern Baptist taking on Tarleton State. Montana and Sacramento State, the Grizzlies and the Hornets going head to head. But yeah, Teran, if I'm not mistaken, there's not too many solid ones here today. But I don't know. So what do you got today, Teran? What do you think?
So let me sound off on the North Dakota Indiana State game. I thought that was a very good game. North Dakota State obviously came out on top, but it kind of shows they've got some sort of cracks within them. But it's any given weekend when it comes to college football. I really think that all of these teams are going to come ready to play, and I think it's a beautiful thing. And this is what I like about the FCS. There's no true dominant team, and even sometimes some of the best can get challenged, like say Alabama and North Dakota State in this case. But yeah, overall we've got some good matchups. I think it's going to be a great weekend. I want to see how Indiana State does against Youngstown State. They obviously narrowly lost against North Dakota State, but let's see if they could build off of last week's good results.
Absolutely, Teran. I'm a ding-dong. I'm over here reading off next week's games like an idiot. But you got that one right, correct? Yeah, today we got that game. Should be pretty darn good. Montana State and North Dakota. So we got some better ones today. North Dakota State and South Dakota State. Rivals, of course, going head-to-head there. Both 5-1. Number 1 versus number 3, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, according to the website here. Yeah, so number 1 versus number 2. Teran, we got a 1 versus 2 again today. I just gotta love it, right? So great stuff in this one, man. The Jackrabbits of North Dakota State always seem to be in the shadow, but how well will North Dakota State match up? We'll see. How well will, that'd be a heck of a game coming up later on today. So that should be a fun one. Also, Weber State and Portland State going head-to-head. Some good football today, man. So with that said, Teran, let's go ahead and get the final touch here of the day, of course, going back into the FBS. And, well, Teran, here it is, man. We talked about a couple games already today, and as good as they shall be, we also have here, and this is, always a fun one. We also have here, if I'm not mistaken, Teran, the Battle of the Blues today. I thought I saw that. Maybe not. By the way, number 25, James Madison takes on Georgia Southern. Can they remain undefeated? And we do have the Battle of the Blues, and they're both pretty good, Taryn, actually, this year. North Carolina, 5-1. Duke at 4-2. That should be a good game today. Battle of the Blues going down. The Tobacco Road rivalry, whatever you want to call it, man. Always great stuff there. And then, of course, we got to talk Stanford Notre Dame because, well, they're both not that good this year, but hey, it's still going to be a good game. Number 16 Mississippi versus number 22 Kentucky. Mississippi is favored, or Mississippi State favored by 3.5 points. And then, of course, well, we'll get to the game of the day coming up. But Taryn, how about that, or any other games you want to mention for today, man?
Yeah, that Notre Dame Stanford matchup. I'm so glad. I hope it's not being played on national TV. If so, then I will do my best to not really tune in. I'm kidding. But yeah, I think we've got some good little matchups right here. I'm interested to see how Kansas does following their loss. I'm still really locked in on this Penn State Michigan matchup. It's the battle at the Big House, and only one team's going to wind up remaining undefeated between those two teams. And I am excited for these big time matchups right here. And I think we've got ourselves some good little matchups. I think a sneaky good matchup would be LSU at Florida. I think Florida is sneaky good, especially since they beat Utah early in the season. Mississippi State and Kentucky also is a good matchup right there. So I'm excited. And unfortunately, Stanford is playing Notre Dame on NBC. So if you're watching nationally televised, if you're watching on NBC, my condolences.
I mean, can they just put the Battle of the Blues on instead? I'd rather watch that, Taryn.
Exactly.
Well, Taryn,
why do we got? Well, some of us don't have the ACC network
or the Pac-12, which is
that too.
Yeah. So, Taryn, we've reached the final part of the day. Of course, the game of the day. Last week we talked. Actually, today too it should be a pretty good game as well. New Mexico, man. New Mexico Lobos taking on the New Mexico State Aggies. New Mexico is 2-4. The Aggies are 1-5. The Lobos are favored by 7 points. Should be a good game as well. I mean, they're both not that good, and they're both pretty solid. I guess. They're both. Wow, I contradicted myself. They're both not that good this season, but it's a rivalry game, and you gotta love that. So, anyway, Aaron. Two more big ones to get into. Number 16, Mississippi, and number 22, Kentucky. Mississippi State favored by 3.5 points. Who you got?
Man, I really want to take Kentucky. I got to go with Mississippi State just to be safe.
You and me both, sir. I'm going to go Mississippi State to win this thing today. And then, of course, you know what? Now I'm going to switch it up, man. I'm going to go Kentucky at home. You know what? Why not? This team has just faced a lot, and I'm going to see if they can win this thing at home. And then, of course, Taryn, the game of the day, brother. The big one, of course. I know last week we talked about it. I know it's just a contract thing, I guess. But I guess they call it an ABC, Saturday Night Football. Number 4, Clemson, and Florida State, ACC matchup here. Clemson is only favored by 4.5 points. Any reason to why that is, Taryn?
Florida State is improved. I think they're much better than what they appear to be when it comes to that 4-2 record. I want to say Florida State, one of Florida State's losses came against a ranked Wake Forest team. I'm not sure on the other loss. To NC State, which was also ranked. So, the Wake Forest loss was by 10, but Florida State has not lost any cupcakes. So that's probably the reason why Clemson is only favored by 4.5 points, just because Florida State is improved and they face some stiff competition. Now they face their third straight ranked opponent from the ACC. I still got to take Clemson.
I agree, Clemson all day. But well, let's see what kind of game it is, Darren. So, with that said, brother, there's some good stuff, man. We got some great stuff going on today. Some great college football. High school football was solid. I mean, we really had a good show, man. Had some great stuff there. And well, with that said, I mean, any last thoughts for today, man?
I think we nailed it practically everything. I think I got all my fun fact and Snapple facts out of the way, and I think we are good to go.
Well, if that's the case, Teran, let's go ahead and cue that music, because we're on out of here for today, man. Great stuff as always, my brother. And it was a fun one. So, with that said, Teran, USC. Gotta win this thing today, right?
Yes, it's high time we have the Pac-12. It's high time USC takes over the Pac-12, and it's high time they show everyone that they are the real deal. And we gotta get that USC-UCLA match in the Pac-12 championship one step closer. Just because they scrapped the North versus South little format, so now it's the top two teams from the Pac-12 facing one another, meaning USC and UCLA could face each other twice, probably twice in the span of 3 weeks.
Are we going back to the BCS here?
Well, I feel that is the case just because I don't think they don't want the Oregon dominating every single year. Just because one of my burning 5 questions is who can really challenge Oregon in the Pac-12 North, and not too many teams have done so. I mean, Washington State did so, but they unfortunately collapsed, which was disappointing.
Agreed, Teran. So with that said, y'all, you can follow us all as a whole at 3 and Out. I'll follow our show at 3 and Out. IECE. Of course, you can follow me over there at you can follow the entire station at Ice Sports Radio on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere. Teran, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Teran Rodriguez1. That's where I mainly post a majority of my content.
There it is, y'all. Well, stay tuned. We're going to have some fun coming up today, talking about college football. We're going to do more coming. Well, the games are underway. Let's say without further ado, visit some college football. We will see y'all next week. Until then, y'all, take care. And as always, God bless.